Hey guys, this is Diablo Disaster here. Got you a deck profile. If you saw my notification, we won our store championship with Royal Knights. So we're just going to go and profile the winning list, show off that swag. But it's not standard Royal Knights. This is a Royal Knight control deck. I'm not a huge fan of the regular Royal Knights just losing because it breaks really bad or can't have outs to things. So like this one has a bit more of a defensive strategy and then just hard relies on dropping the Omnimon usually for the game. You're still on 4 Drazel. This is obviously like your bread and butter of the deck, just how you play it. We are playing 4 Omnimon. This is your win condition. Some regular Royal Knights list can play 3, not care, but like you absolutely have to see this card. So like this is your bread and butter, board like 4 or 5 Royal Knights win the game on the spot. We're on 3 Gallantmon. This card I thought about playing a 4th copy of. This is sort of just like your board control, early to mid game play. Aside from just dropping Magnamons and such to just draw cards. This card just helps you keep a board under control, and in really rare situations, like after you have Omnimon, if you have a second Omnimon in your hand, you can Digivolve this over the Gallantmon to get its pop if you need to pass turn and can't win the game that turn, or if it's a safer play to just to just hold off for a turn. We're on 4 of the Magna and 4 of the Dynus. This is your draw engine. And your bread and butter opening plays. Usually want to open one of these 2 cards just so that way you can spend the least amount of memory and still be able to find cards, because since this deck is almost all megas, like you need to be able to draw. And now for the rest of the nights, we're on 2 Leopard, 2 Cranium, 2 Ulforce, 2 Jess, 2 Kentaurus, 1 Genku, 1 Lord Knight, 1 Alpha. So this is a very not standard variant of this. Like I said, this is a control deck. So like you don't need to see very many of each of these. You just want to see like usually 1 of each, just so that way your Omnimon doesn't just feel really bad. Some of these have their like specific niches. I thought about making this like another Craniumon because we have a lot of blue flare players in our locals. We could do this could also be like a 4th Gallantmon, just so that it's generally a better card. I respect this card a lot. This card helps close up games with only needing like 4 Royal Knights. Feels really good. I'd say ironically this is like my favorite one, just because it gets around like destruction removal and rip sources and stuff. Like feels really good when this card is played as a control piece. This is sort of like your combo extender, but as well as your this is like your way of making Omnimon and your whole board have blocker and still making it like free to play Omnimon. And then this card's immune basically to Metal Greymon, which is why I thought about playing a 3rd copy of it, because like they're like, oh, I'll stun your dudes. Okay, still swing and still block for 13 over your Metal Grey. I'm not taking any damage, and you're still not hitting my security. Genku's like kind of a good power move, but like you don't often want to go into this. And this variant doesn't also play any Sistermons, so this one feels kind of bad sometimes. Lord Knight, I thought about playing a 2nd one because the memory actually comes up a lot, or its opponent's turn effect, but it also makes sure that I actually will get to see like my Omnimon or my Purge or whatever. And Alphamon's really good. It just depends on how heavy how heavy into Bloom and other top-end decks your opponents are on, because like this stuns those cards very well and also has a removal protection. But at least in our meta, this card is kind of meh. Last Digimon we're playing is 2 Omeka. Standard list plays like 4 of this, but like you'll see why I'm not playing very many others, because we're on lots of other stuff here. And pardon that noise, we got an ice machine here in the break room. For Tamers, we're on 3 Marcus, because Psychmon's a bitch. We're also on 2 TK Kari and 2 Digimon Emperor. This card is fantastic in slower matchups. Like, we actually have a good amount of armor players in our locals, so like this came up to the point where I just fixated myself at like 4 or 6 memory every turn until it was time to drop Omnimon. And this card stuns out rush decks like Hunters and Armor. And it's the draw power I feel like the deck actually needs, because every time you kill something level 5 or less, you draw a card. So like Most of your Royal Knights actually either pop something or they block, and which kills the dudes. So like this card comes up a lot. I would not have won most of the games I've won if I didn't have this card. And then for options, we're on Fort Purge. This is your other piece of the bread and butter. I guess your, I don't know, man. This is your garlic butter or something. This is your other play extenders and how you play the game outside of just dropping Omnimon for the game. It also helps turbo you up, and after turn 3, it only costs 3 to play with Duraze's effect. The last bit of the deck is our actual control factor, and that is 3 X Program, 3 Lonk, and 2 Holy Flame. These cards are fantastic. X Program, we don't have very many X antibody decks being played right now, so like when going into the matchups against literally anything, like Blue Flare, Bloom, Royal Knights, Hunters, I know I'm missing a few here, Alphamon, literally kills everything. Whereas, obviously, if you go up against like Melga or Alpha or Jess, this card is awful. But like, that's their rogue decks, you don't have to usually worry about them too much. And Lonk is just good generic removal. It still triggers Digimon Emperor. You're on a good amount of yellow Digimon, and your Marcus is yellow, so like, you can already play this card if you wanted to. And then Holy Flame is actually really good into Blue Flare and Bloom, which are normally really bad matchups for Royal Knights. So it helps, like, they got a Metal Ground board, you're not dead, you just -3 checks it, so that way they can't do anything with it. It's literally sitting there not doing anything. Because even if they have the Metal Gray and the Metal Gray Axe and the Z, they ain't doing any damage with it. Nothing. Nada. So, like, this card also helps you keep turn. Oh, not keep turn, excuse me, but, like, also helps you end your turn without giving them too much, because that's kind of the curse of playing Mega Zoo, right? Like, you usually give your opponent too much memory and they can just blow you out with it. So this card, as well as the low-cost Digimon Emperors, are just really good at ending your turn on low memory. This deck performed phenomenally. Mind you, I know I'm into like some lower tier matchups with it, because I played excuse me, it was Armor, All Force, and then Gallantmon Mill. So like, obviously they aren't like the tier 1 stuff, but like, he's still obviously like, I don't know, man, because like Armor felt free as hell. But going into the Mill deck, like, both games I actually had to hard dig, make sure I got my Omnimon, because I was not winning without it. And I was a turn away on both games from just getting OTK'd by Gallantmon and X Antibody Omnimon. So, they're not exactly the easiest matchups, but like, I understand that this was more or less kind of free, but like, I don't know, man. There were good decks there. I mean, we had Blue Flare, we had Alpha, we had RK, we had Control, we had, I know I'm missing like one deck, but like, honestly, I just picked this deck at random to play. It was between this and a handful of other decks, but I will say I had a lot of fun playing this. It's been testing well against the meta stuff too. Like, this destroys Bloom Lord. Like, it's almost uncontested. Hunter is really hard because, like, well, sort of, because like Hunter can sometimes just win the game on turn 3 or 4 if they have enough crap. But if they don't, and you make it to like turn 4 or 5, and you can drop Omnimon, you just win the game. Because they have no security bombs whatsoever. The worst thing you'll hit is a Quartzmon or a Death X in security, and if you've got the Jessmon, none of your stuff's dying. Except for maybe the Magnamon. Going into like, I can see where this is kind of rough against Mirage, because you add a lot of cards to your hand over the course of the game. And they can just randomly OTK you with jamming. And Shine Greymon is sort of a toss-up, but that's why we're playing in the control variant, because if you're on the, if you hit the X program in your hand, or not in your hand, but if like you hit it or Lonk in your security, you just remove their Rise Greymon and they just lose. Because they can't finish all the crap they've been trying to set up for the rest of the game with. And then you might have your one big opening where you can just like steal the board back, make it to where they never attack with Marcus, like conditionally, and then just drop Omnimon and win the game. So like, I feel like this version of the deck's a lot better into the current meta. It's also fairly good into the mirror, because like, you're gonna hit Exmogram and Lonk, and if your Omnimon went properly, or you were able to play Kentaurus, and you were able to stack Lonk, like Lonk's gonna remove anything in their deck unless it's done at high security, which you can't do high security unless you're already winning the game anyways. So like, because Kentaurus requires both players to be at 6 or less total. So like, the idea is that you would be behind in security by like 1 or 2, and then so that way you're getting the memory off of the TK Karis, and then you just drop Kentaurus, stack a Lonk, gain 3 memory, swing, -7 something, restand it, blah blah blah. You get the idea. But that has been our RK control profile, guys. I hope you enjoyed. And I'll be bringing to you some more stuff here soon. This is a brand new tripod I'm using, so I'm going to start being able to record games with my local friends and my good testing buddies. Hopefully we'll get a lot more content going on here soon. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video and want to see more, feel free to click on the most recent video link on the left side of the video, or just go to my channel link and check out all the awesome Digimon content I have for you there. While you're there, smash the subscribe button for me so we can keep the channel going. Also, more content on my TikTok about Digimon news, card releases, and just general rants about the card game, and the occasional random video. Don't forget to answer the question of the week at the bottom of this video, down in the comment section, and as always, have a diabolical day.